Many organizations talk to us about their vision, about the mission that they have, the value that they bring to their customers. And when it comes to talking about values, there are question marks that people have about what's the significance about values? Why is it important to talk about values as it relates to our organization? It's kind of a touchy-feely, feel-good exercise. When in reality, when an organization understands its true driving values, which is based on the leader, the senior leader of the organization, and how that organization is going to be aligned and live those values, that in turn drives the vision, drives everything that the organization does in terms of how they impact and relate to customers, in terms of how employees relate and work through issues and innovate and come up with ideas together. It's the foundation. Values are the foundation that drive decision-making, that drive how issues are dealt with and resolved. In order to get an organization to the point where they're aligned around their values, both internally and externally, we go through a process called operationalizing the values. Essentially what that is looking at what are our values, what do these values mean practically, how would we define these values, what do they mean to us as an organization, and then looking at the definition, we then look at what are our beliefs and attitudes about these values. By understanding the beliefs and attitudes people have about the values, that then drives how people are going to live and behave around the values. There's an organization that we worked with that had a value of harmony. It was essential for this organization that people got along, that people were kind to each other, that things were smooth from a relationship standpoint. So when we first started working with the organization, people thought harmony meant just getting along. We need to get along with each other. Conflict is bad. And the attitudes and beliefs that people had regarding harmony were conflict is bad. We shouldn't have issues. If we do have issues, let's try to keep things smooth and not rock the boat. And so over a period of time, issues weren't getting addressed. People weren't going to each other directly. And there was triangulation, there was backstabbing, and there was gossip all over the place. So instead of having an environment where there was harmony, there was an environment that was created that was really nasty. People were talking about each other, and many individuals in that organization felt hurt, felt disconnected, and didn't feel that they had a mechanism or a way that they could raise an issue and see it to resolution. The team that we were working with started looking at harmony and how they were going to get to harmony. And they discovered that if they wanted to have true harmony, they needed to find a way to raise issues with each other and resolve issues. If they weren't doing that, then what existed was a sense of false harmony where things looked good on the surface, but underneath there was chaos and destruction. People on this team and in this organization began looking at how they were going to raise issues. They decided that any issue that arose needed to be talked about and resolved within a 24-hour period. They started to put measures in place where they could practically live out these values day to day. Over a period of time, the value of harmony was lived out in a real way versus seeing harmony lived out in an inconsistent way. It is in that process that the values became real, that the values that the leader discussed and talked about seemed consistent with what the organization was doing and how they were implementing those values. And it changed everything. You see, by understanding the true driving values of your organization, and then by getting people to struggle with what the values mean, how they're going to live them day to day, creates a sense of consistency, creates a sense of security, and it lays the foundation for people to make decisions, for people to come together and have a way to resolve issues with one another in an effective way.